Hi there BookTube, it's Eleanor here, and today I'm going to be doing a bit of a book haul. I am still trying not to buy books, but I'm letting myself buy a few as and when, and I have been sent a few by the publishers. I had a recent day out with some BookTube ladies and it was such a fun day. I really enjoyed it. We went to my favourite second-hand bookshop in London called Any Amount Books. They generally have quite a lot of proofs and new copies of books that have only just been released, but for sort of minimal cost, £2, £3 for hardcovers. Which is really exciting, and so I did pick up a couple there. So the first books I'm going to show you are the ones that I I was very kindly given a book and bought when I was on my trip. So the first book I was very kindly given by Jen, and Jen had received 2 proofs of this and so very kindly passed one on to me, and it's called Lullaby by Leila Slimani, I believe. Jen said to me that this, as she thought, was a bit of a thriller. From what I can gather, this is the story of a couple. The mother decides to return to work after looking after her 2 young children. It's set in Paris. They employ a nanny. The nanny is amazing. The couple start to rely more and more on the nanny, and I think there might be something dark and sinister lurking beneath. I don't know, but I'm definitely looking forward to reading this one and finding out more. And then the books that I very excitedly found when I was in Any Amount. The first one is a theme that I've been seeing more and more in books recently, and definitely more and more in books that seem to be coming into my household, which is involving incidents of rape. And the first one I'd heard on someone else's channel and I thought sounded really interesting. This is called The Nowhere Girls by Amy Reed, and I really enjoy what they've done with the front cover here. So with this one I'm going to read you the back, because it sounds like a little bit of a complicated blurb and there appears to be multiple points of view. So it says, they're every girl, but they start with just 3. Grace, the preacher's daughter, who moves into the former house of a girl whose pain still adorns the walls. Bold Rosina, who dreams of a life playing music instead of waitressing at her uncle's restaurant. And misunderstood Erin, the girl who finds more solace in science and order than she does in people. They are brought together by the idea of changing the narrative of Lucy Moynihan, the girl behind the graffiti in Grace's bedroom. When Grace learns that Lucy was run out of town for accusing the popular guys at school of gang rape, she's incensed that she never got justice. Together, Grace, Erin and Rosina form the Nowhere Girls and decide to avenge the rape of a girl none of them knew. Told in alternating perspectives, this groundbreaking novel is an indictment of rape culture and explores with bold honesty the deepest questions about teenage girls and sexuality. So I think this just sounds like it's going to be a really important read. Next, I picked up a book by an author that I really enjoy, and that's Gabrielle Zevin, and this is called Young Jane Young, and this has been on my wish list for quite a while, so I was really excited to have found it. So this book is about a young woman who in her early career in politics ends up having an affair with quite a prominent politician. It then comes out and she is slut-shamed by everybody and ends up taking the fall for this affair rather than the politician. She changes her name and moves to a small town and brings up her daughter there and becomes a wedding planner, changing her life. But then later in life she is encouraged to run for public office, and the things that happened in her past start to come out, and it's how she deals with it. So I think this is going to be a really interesting read. The next book is one that I wasn't going to pick up because I really didn't enjoy the first book I read by this author, which was called We Were Liars. This is Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. Now, as I say, I didn't hate We Were Liars, but I wasn't as enamoured with it as everybody else. But I just keep hearing really good things about this, and when I saw it and it was such a good price, I thought, right, I'll pick it up and give it a go. It says inside, Imogen is a runaway heiress, an orphan, a cook and a cheat. Julie is a fighter, a social chameleon and an athlete. Imogen and Julie, Julie and Imogen. An intense friendship, a disappearance, a murder or maybe 2, a bad romance or maybe 3. Blunt objects, disguises, blood and chocolate. The American dream, superheroes, spies and villains. A girl who refuses to give people what they want from her, a girl who refuses to be the person she once was, a girl who is a genuine fraud. So it's intriguing. I just hope that this one pans out better for me than We Were Liars. And finally, for the books that I picked up in any amount, is a book that I am going into with an open mind. It is called Mirror Mirror by Cara Delevingne with Rowan Coleman. So I believe Cara Delevingne, who is sort of a model actress, has written this along with somebody else, so maybe a ghostwriter. So this is actually about a group of girls who are trying to escape things in their past. They are in a band called Mirror Mirror, and I'm assuming we're going to look at their story and their friendship, but when one of them turns up half dead at the riverside, there is sort of an investigation into what happened. People think that the girl's done this to herself, their friends aren't so sure, and I'm sure there's going to be deep and dark twisty turns in there. So I think this might end up being more of a sort of a contemporary thriller, so I'm excited. I'm going to go into it with an open mind. The next books are all ones that I was sent by the publishers, so thank you so much to them for that. The first one is called The Empress by S.J. Kincaid, and this is the next in the series after Diabolic. Haven't actually read Diabolic yet, but I really want to read it, and now I can read both together. This one is released on the 2nd of November. I'm not going to tell you the premise because obviously Diabolic comes first, so I don't want to spoil myself or anybody else, but I'm looking forward to starting this series, and now I've got book 2 as well. Next is a book that I did request, and that is Dark Chapter by Winnie M. Lee. This one just sounded like one that I might like. It was intriguing enough to want to pick up. It says, Vivian is a cosmopolitan Taiwanese American tourist who often escapes her busy life in London through adventure and travel. Johnny is a 15-year-old Irish teenager living in a neglected life on the margins of society. On a bright spring afternoon in West Belfast, their paths collide during a horrifying act of violence. In the aftermath, each is forced to confront the chain of events that led to the attack. Inspired by true events, this is a story of the dark chapters and chance encounters that can irrevocably determine the shape of our lives. And this was shortlisted for the Not the Booker Prize 2017, so I'm looking forward to seeing what I think of this one. Next up are a couple of books which I picked up for myself, which are involving the theme that I'm really interested in at the moment, which is autism. One of them is going to be a Wellcome Book Prize book for the challenge that me and Caitlin are doing together, and that comes up in a couple of months, and that is called Neurotribes: The Legacy of Autism and How to Think Smarter About People Who Think Differently. It is a whopper. It is non-fiction, and it's looking into the history of autism, and I really can't wait. This is by Steve Silberman, and so I might pick this up in non-fiction November maybe, just to get started. The next one is a fiction story involving an autistic character, and it's a new release. It's called On the Spectrum by Jennifer Gold. The back of this one says, the summer of adventure in Paris. Growing up in New York in the shadow of her mother, a famous prima ballerina, Clara, is never felt good about her body. Now at 16, she has orthorexia, an unhealthy obsession with healthy eating. Clara escapes for the summer to Paris to stay with her estranged dad, her stepmom, and her 6-year-old brother Alistair, who's on the autism spectrum. Will the fabled city of light help Clara find a better relationship with food? Will the bakery downstairs from her father's apartment be a treasure or a torture? What about the handsome young baker's apprentice? And most of all, what will Clara make of Alistair and he of her? So there's quite a few big topics covered here, so I'm fingers crossed they're covered well. The next 3 books are a trilogy, and if you watched my Cheltenham vlog, you'll know what these are. I said I was looking to pick them up. I read the first one in this trilogy. I wasn't in love with it. I think I gave it 3 stars, but I was so inspired after hearing the author talk that I decided I'm going to give it another try and to read the whole trilogy, and that is Melissa Salisbury's series, which starts with The Sin Eater's Daughter, which is this one, and then we have The Sleeping Prince and The Scarecrow Queen. I did quite enjoy the idea behind The Sin Eater's Daughter and about this sort of sin eating practice, but I just want to go back and read that one again and read the whole trilogy and see what I think, because I want to give it another go. Next is one I picked up a while back on a little trip out with Janet, and that is Wonder Woman Warbringer by Leigh Bardugo. I love Wonder Woman, so this should be a no-brainer really. And finally was the book that I was gifted for my Shelf Slam month from the lovely Janet, and this is Cooking with Bones by Jess Richards. I own Jess Richards' other book called Snake Ropes, which is also just as beautiful as this one. It's a beautiful naked hardback, and I just think this one sounds brilliant. It says, "My sister is a form wanderer. She is a mirror of want. Each person she meets sees what they want when they look at her. She changes for each pair of eyes. Two sisters fleeing the city of Paradon find their way to a village by the sea where old Kalp's cottage and her recipe book await them. Amber feels this is where she belongs, baking honey cakes each night for the villagers to collect in the morning, using a set of bone spoons that allow her to add truth, lust and confusion to her pies and puddings. Her little sister Maya is a form wanderer, engineered to reflect the wants of others. All her life she's been like a twin to Amber, but now Amber has changed her mind and wants Maya to learn how to be herself. Kip, a child growing up amongst the songs and stories of the village, delivers Amber's ingredients. When an act of terrible violence stirs and sets free the secrets of a generation, only one of these three can reveal the truth." I just think this sounds really brilliant, so I can't wait to get stuck in. I love anything with sort of magic and food. Really like those sort of books. I've read quite a few. There's Chocolat. There is Carrie Hope Fletcher's 2 books that she's written. I think both of them are food. No. Her latest one, All That She Wants, I believe it was called. I really enjoyed, and that involved food. Any sort of magically food I really enjoy. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. So those are the books that I've picked up or been given or gifted recently. I'm really excited about all of these, and I can't wait to read them and share them with you. Hopefully my buying will slow down a little bit now. Now I've got it out my system, and I'm looking forward to getting stuck into the books on my shelves because there's some really good ones in there. Anyway, let me know, as always, if you've read any of these, if you recommend any of these, if you didn't like any of these. Let's chat in the comments, and I shall speak to you soon. Bye for now, BookTube.